Tonight, a look at politics and crossing the divide. Fewer than half of Americans say there is common ground between Republicans and Democrats in Washington. The share of Americans who say there is at least some common ground has declined by 12 points between 2023 and 2024. This drop is seen on topics including foreign policy, the environment, immigration, gun policy, and abortion. That's according to a Pew Research study.
And in the wake of the assassination of conservative figure Charlie Kirk, 79% of voters say the United States is in a political crisis. 58% think it will not be possible to lower the temperature on political rhetoric and speech. More than half, 54%, also believe political violence in the U.S. will get worse over the next few years, and that's according to a Quinnipiac University national poll.
In an effort to bridge the political divide, BridgeUSA, a youth movement with 93 chapters on college campuses nationwide, is working to promote more dialogue on divisive issues. Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo had a BridgeUSA chapter. It was disbanded, though, this year because of student turnover. Students who knew of the group say that it was small, and they noted that there weren't many places on campus to hold those dialogues.
And joining us now is Nicholas Chu. He's president of the BridgeUSA chapter at UCLA.
We thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Can you tell us, how is BridgeUSA different than Turning Point USA? And can you share how things on the UCLA campus in the wake of Charlie Kirk's death, how things have changed?
Thank you, Beth and CJ. That's a really good question. BridgeUSA, sort of our mission is to bring people together for a political discussion. Turning Point USA is a little more of a conservative-oriented group. Sort of the goal of BridgeUSA and our mission is to bring people of a variety of across the political spectrum, to bring people to talk about those discussion topics that might be a little harder to discuss. And some schools that make up might be more liberal, such as the case at UCLA, which has a more liberal student body. But the goal is to create a space for those discussions that are hard to have for any members across the political spectrum.
And Nicholas, BridgeUSA says it's not trying to change people's political views and opinions. How does your group engage in dialogue, and how is it different from debate, for example?
I think that's a really good question that you bring up, CJ. So our goal is not to have it be a debate club where one side wins and the other side loses. It's not a zero-sum game where someone else bringing up their point hurts the other person. We're all like people trying to build a better political future together, and we come together with those common values, and we try to sort out what that political future looks like for us. For different people in the group, it has a very different vision of what that is. But we come together to have those discussions because we know that this current really divided and tense political climate is not really good for anyone or any of the citizens, and we want to be able to create a space for people to work together and not a space where they're forced to agree. People can enter with and leave with the same perspectives.
Can you talk about the role of the internet? And many people believe it's become more politically divisive. What are your thoughts on that? What do you recommend to bridge the political divide?
Yeah, so it's really hard. Bridge is focused on a more youth movement, and a lot of people in our generation, like me, grew up on cell phones. And so we grew up with internet, social media, and we find ourselves in these little speech bubbles, these little political spheres that kind of like gain the most traction, because those things on the internet that gain the most engagement are those that are the most controversial. And oftentimes an algorithm will try like to mold itself to your political preferences, and it can like push people further along the political spectrum. A lot of times the issue might not even be pushing along the ideological spectrum, but pushing a rhetorical message that it's not okay to engage with political opinions that vary from their own, and that disagreement is not having those discussions, and having a healthy disagreement is not possible. At Bridge, we try to show that disagreement is completely normal, and we try to create a space for this healthy disagreement. Try to push against that movement that's happened on the internet.
All right, Nicholas Chu, thank you so much. BridgeUSA, holding dialogues, not debates, on college campuses. We really appreciate hearing from you and hope to hear more from you in the future.
Thank you, Nicholas.
Thank you.